Welcome to another episode of JAG University. Danny, again, thank you for being here.
I love being here.
I love just talking to you.
Me
like
too.
I said in our last episode, I just really feel like you bestow so much knowledge upon me.
No,
so again, I'm Dante Harris. This is Danny Torres, the cannabis lawyer, and today we're going to talk about misconceptions of cannabis.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would say, what would you say is the number one misconception about cannabis?
There's a lot. The first misconception, I would probably have to say that people that consume cannabis are potheads.
Okay.
Let's just discard that.
Let's just get this one out there.
Yeah, let's get that one out there.
I want to say this is a round table discussion, but we're at a square table. So
It's okay. We can bring some of the guys around. Cannabis, whether it's high THC marijuana or hemp, has so many medicinal uses, and the first misconception is, you take CBD, am I going to get high? Are you a pothead? Like, you're lazy?
Yeah.
You're like, no. Like, we've kind of discarded that whole misconception, and especially this summer, we saw a lot of discussion, and I actually wrote a few pieces on this about athletes and cannabis and how athletes have started being open about their use for recovery.
Absolutely.
That's the first misconception. Listen, just because you consume some version of cannabis, whether it's on the hemp side or the high THC side, you're not a pothead.
Okay.
Right? So I would say that's the first one. I think the second one is the distinction between marijuana and hemp.
Okay.
People see a CBD tincture or a Delta 8 product, and we really don't know. A lot of people don't really know what it is, what's the difference. A lot of the companies are branding them very similarly, using the cannabis leaf and all that stuff, and it leaves the consumer and the patients in a place where they're not 100% sure what they're taking.
Okay, so break it down for me, right? So
Got it.
I've got marijuana on one hand,
Yep.
and I've got hemp on the other hand. So
Yep.
those are the two most well-known
100%.
names for cannabis, right?
Yep.
So on the federal level, again, marijuana is illegal.
Illegal.
Hemp is.
100%.
And then in different states, you have marijuana. They have medical marijuana, and then you also have recreational marijuana.
Correct.
But it's not every state. It's like 35, 36 different
Yep.
states. Hemp, because it's already legal on the federal level, it's legal on the state level as well. You said a stat when we were talking a little bit off camera, and you said that in the state of Florida, there are 22 different licenses, licensed companies for marijuana.
Yes.
And then there's 10,000 plus for hemp.
Yeah.
Why?
First of all, let's start with the marijuana side. That's the easy one. The state of Florida, when they designed and drafted their medical cannabis program, decided to limit the number of licenses.
Yeah.
And they put in a requirement for vertical integration. What that means is that the same company needs to do what it's called seed to shelf. Basically, you have to farm it, you have to manufacture it, you have to process it, you have to distribute it, and you have to sell it at the retail location, all under one company, one license.
That's a lot of work.
And it's impossible. That's why you only see no, you think about it. If I'm a farmer, I'm not a retailer.
Right.
So unfortunately, the Florida program, and I criticize it openly, it's not good because it leaves a lot of folks out of the industry that could be doing really great work in the industry because you need to have so much money to build a grow, to build a manufacturing facility, to do the distribution, and then you need to build out a storefront and hire people and do retailing.
Yeah.
The farmers are not retailers.
Right.
And that, speaking specifically to the Florida program, that's what kind of kills it right there. And so only big companies that are publicly traded, that are, they're in that space. Now on the hemp side, because it is legal at the federal level, especially since the 2018 Farm Bill, and there is no vertical integration requirement, you could have a small farm down in Homestead, or you could have a distribution company, or you could set up an e-commerce site and sell CBD products or hemp-derived products, or you could have a little smoke shop or a retail shop and sell all these products, or at the spa or whatever.
Right. Okay. Now, question. Right. And I know this might be like a side topic, but because it's easier to get into the hemp sphere than it is to get into the marijuana sphere.
Yeah.
Do you think at some point, if marijuana to be federally legal, we would have the same effect, or do you think it would level out, or do you think marijuana would take off?
I think there's space for both, right? The hemp side of the house is not psychoactive.
Okay.
So not everybody wants to get high. And
not
everybody wants to feel that psychoactive effect. And
Right.
so the hemp side of the house has a lot of benefits, and the CBD, especially for inflammation and all these other arthritis, whatever, that anxiety, depression, all that, right? We can do a lot of really good work on the hemp side.
Okay.
But some people do need that high THC content for pain management, for mental health, for whatever treatment that you're doing. And I wish we would talk about all of it just as cannabis. They're just different parts of it.
Gotcha.
One is going to be more of your wellness, everyday kind of routine maintenance. And that's what I would call the hemp side of the house. And then you're going to have something that is more on either your recreational or medical side of the house that, if you have a potentially life-threatening or chronic illness, you probably need that higher THC content. And if you're just someone who likes how it makes you feel, you probably are okay with a recreational use. I heard Damian Marley once say that he smokes marijuana recreationally, but it is the medicinal aspects of the plant that we really need to be talking about.
Right.
And so, it is a lot easier to get into the hemp side of the house. It's still not 100% well regulated at the federal level.
Because, I mean, just looking at the numbers alone, again, speaking about the state of Florida, you got 22 licenses for marijuana.
Yeah.
Then you got over 10,000 for hemp. It's if you had a crowd of 22 people with 4 police officers, they're going to be able to take care of that crowd much easier than 10,000 people.
So enforcement is a problem.
Right. But and that's stuff that gets worked out over time. Right?
It's a growing industry. It's 2 years old. Think about it. Hemp only became legal in the United States to grow, manufacture, and all that in December of 2018. And we still don't have full regulation by the FDA. We still, again, it's new. It's so new. There's a lot of gray areas. There's a lot still to.
Well, I'm going to talk about. I want to ask about this gray area that I feel like I don't know too much about. Right. I hear about Delta 8.
Ooh, there it is.
Right. and maybe people think that it comes from marijuana, but you're telling me that it actually comes from hemp.
Yeah. So Delta 8 or THC 8 is a naturally occurring cannabinoid within the cannabis plants.
Break down the word cannabinoid.
Okay. So cannabis, like we said, cannabis, predominantly two plants.
Okay.
Hemp and marijuana. They have all these components, molecules, right? CBD and THC9 are the most widely known. THC9 is the one that's in marijuana that gives you a psychoactive effect. The CBD, predominantly in hemp, it's very high content. It's the one that gives you that body wellness feeling, really good stuff.
Okay, I'm caught up now.
Okay. Delta 8 is really THC 8. It is one of those components that happens naturally in the hemp plant and in the cannabis, in the marijuana plant. But it doesn't happen in the hemp plant in levels high enough to mass produce.
Okay.
So you have to submit CBD through a process to convert it into Delta 8.
Okay.
But it does come from the hemp plant. And so there's an argument. There's, like you said, there's this gray area. There's a lot of debate in the cannabis industry and within law enforcement as to whether Delta 8 is a legal substance. Some people would argue, probably I would argue, that Delta 8, because it is derived from the hemp plant,
which is legal on the federal level.
Correct. And it is submitted to a process, it's legal. Now, what creates a debate is that synthetic THC, whatever that means, is still considered Schedule 1. And the DEA will consider it Schedule 1.
Okay.
But the law reads a lot different. And so there is currently that ongoing debate as to well, it does come from the hemp plant, but some scientists could really make an argument that it's synthetic because it's
manipulated.
It's submitted through a process of isomerization. Basically, they shake it, they heat it up.
Okay, yeah. You should have just said they shake and heat.
Yeah,
isomerization. What?
But again, you could make the argument, and then now when you throw in another layer, the federal government and the federal legislation saying, well, if it's synthetic, now it's illegal at the federal level
because it wasn't what they approved as legal.
And then when they drafted the farm bill, no one was expecting for a psychoactive product to be put into market.
Oh,
and again, it's still new, so
it's still evolving. Like the whole conversation and the whole development of the things that can be derived from something that's legal.
Correct.
It's still being the story's still being written.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that a lot of states, even states like Colorado, that have recreational marijuana programs, will ban Delta 8, which is a hemp-derived product. There is a claim that it's based on consumer safety, and I agree with that 100%. We need to know who's manufacturing, if they have good manufacturing practices, insurance in place, product liability, all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
But now you're in the discussion of I'm protecting my homegrown marijuana market, which is still illegal at the federal level, and I'm banning a potentially legal substance under federal law because it comes from hemp, and that's where the lawyers have all the fun.
That's where lawyers make their money. Okay. That's where stuff starts. It depends, No, okay, cool. I love that. Thank you so much for clearing up some of the stuff, like a lot of misconceptions.
Yeah.
Again, we want to make sure that we're putting out good information, good resources for people so that they can always just know. Just know.
Yeah.
Right? Like the more you know, the more you can actually go out and make changes.
Yeah, and I think we'll get there as an industry. I think as more regulation is put in place, as more enforcement is put in place, more information is being disseminated to the public, people will make better and more informed decisions as to what they're consuming. Decisions. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if I know this product because I've done my research, or the person at the shop or my doctor or somebody told me, that is good because they know they've looked at lab analysis, they've looked at where this thing is coming from, where it was grown and all that, and go, oh yeah, this is good, versus something I'm buying somewhere that I have no idea where it came from. The label says nothing. I can't look up, lab analysis. Like, you probably don't want to put that in your body.
No. So real quick, this is so off topic. Mona's probably gonna kill me. She has this jar of I think it's just petroleum jelly. Like it's just.
She bought it at the farmer's market,
right? But it's got it's just in a jar with no label and nothing, but it has like a sticker on top that like someone wrote, I think, like petroleum jelly. And I'm like, but how do we know?
Correct.
Right? So like you're using this.
Correct.
And if you were to give it to someone else, like it's cool that you know what's in it because you know where it came from.
Yeah.
But with this, like you want to have more enforcement. You want to make sure that things are definitely labeled and accurate, so that way you're understanding exactly what you're putting in your body.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what most people's concern is. It's like, okay, I have Delta 8. What am I exactly putting in my body?
Correct.
And I think clearing up a lot of these misconceptions is the first step to figuring that out.
Yeah. And like I said, we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get better lab testing. We'll get transparency. And it's like any other product. How we all go down to the vending machine and buy soda or Gatorade or whatever, and
Coca-Cola used to have cocaine.
I didn't say it, he did, but it's true. It's true.
But I mean, we want to do a better job, and as a society, I think we've gotten a lot better at labeling things so you know exactly what's going on.
And that's, I mean, you just said something, and I wish we had half an hour to do this because
we might one day.
Because think of cannabis, right? Cannabis was legal before the 1930s, right? It was 100% legal. They would sell it at Sears.
Great place. Great jackets.
And you could get tinctures. And I wish I had pictures with me. Like you could go to the pharmacy, literally to the pharmacy, Woolworths or whatever. Like the younger crowd doesn't know what that is, but you could buy a tincture, like a little oil that says cannabis oil as medicine.
Wow.
At Sears. And then to take it to where we are now, they changed the name from cannabis to marijuana, primarily to stigmatize it because of the communities that were predominantly consuming this substance. And again, I wish we had half an hour or an hour to talk about this, but I think the most important thing for the industry is transparency. It's just tell people what's in their product for people to get educated and say, I want to buy good stuff that doesn't have heavy metals, pesticides, all like you would do with any product, right?
Absolutely.
We all want to go to the farmer's market and get organic, bananas. I'm not sure if that banana is organic. I know that the person's telling me it's organic.
Yeah.
Like there's no lab analysis of that banana. But we have to kind of treat the cannabis plants like we treat any other crop, like corn, like soy. Like anything else. And then if we're going to certify it USDA organic, it better be USDA organic.
That's good.
And so,
man. Well, Danny, again, my guy, thanks for coming by. Thanks for dropping these knowledge nuggets.
Love you, brother.
Love you, man. Come back for another episode of JAG University. If you are enjoying this one, make sure you go back and listen to a couple of our other episodes. We've been talking about cannabis quite a bit.
Yeah.
Right? So get informed, get knowledgeable so that you can share good information with others. All right. Love you. Peace out.